So many people come to me and say, I have a strong-willed child, what do I do? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to share with you 5 expert tips for parenting your strong-willed child. I'm an expert at strong-willed people. Number 1, I am a strong-willed person who had to control myself. All of my children are strong-willed. My husband's strong-willed, and I was a foster parent for troubled teens for many years. And guess what? I didn't meet one that wasn't strong-willed. So do you have a strong-willed child? Well, no worries. I've got your back. These 5 expert tips are going to be just what you need. And in number 5, pay close attention because I'm going to be giving you the exact words to say to help when somebody is starting to put up walls and fight just a little bit. Now, this may seem like a no-brainer, but people forget it. The only person that you can control is yourself. So when a person is strong-willed and they act like they're trying to control you, they can't. And if you feel like, I've got to control them, you can't. The only person that you can control is yourself. Don't forget that. You'll need calmness and skills during a time when a child's trying to manipulate you or strong-arm you to get their way. Expert tip number 2 is something that you do before any kind of situation occurs. So you pre-teach where you're going in your relationship, who you're becoming as a family. I know this seems like, what? How could this help my strong-willed child? Well, strong-willed people need to have buy-in. They need to feel like they're secure in who they are. One of the reasons that they're pushing so hard against you is because they think that who they are is more powerful than you and needs to teach you something. But if they understood their relationships better and who you're becoming as a family, then that strong-willed person might actually feel like they can settle in to being a learner from time to time. In my Teaching Self-Government Parenting course, I teach about creating a vision for the family. We create a 20-year vision for the family in the future. I'm not going to go into details about how we do that because I have other videos about that, and we also have that material in the course. But just so that you know that act of planning ahead of time as a family, saying, who do we want to become? What do we want that bond and these relationships to be like, is super powerful in the hearts of everybody in the family. It gives everybody a reason why they should care about communicating well, getting along with each other, and sometimes letting those walls down. Number 3, pre-teach the skills to use in the moment. So this means before the moment when you need the skills, pre-teach those skills. So what skills should you pre-teach? In the Teaching Self-Government Parenting program, we teach 4 basic skills that all children need that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems. The first one is following instructions, then accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Each one of these skills has a skill set attached to it. That means that there are different steps that they have to accomplish. For instance, to accept a no answer, you look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, and then drop the subject. If a person doesn't do all 4 of those things, they're not fully accepting a no answer. So these give you a way to analyze your behavior. If you teach it ahead of time to a strong-willed person and they recognize that was true, they taught me something true, because that's what every strong-willed person is looking for, the truth. And if they feel like they have more of it than you, they're going to push it at you. So that's why you can't ever manipulate a strong-willed person successfully. There are 2 other skills that you need as a parent. You need to know how to correct the children appropriately, and they need to know exactly what that correction sounds like, word for word. And remember, in step number 5, I'm going to be sharing with you some of those exact words that you can say. But if the child happens to go completely out of control, maybe they rage, maybe they tantrum, maybe they put up a wall and they won't talk to you, those are all out of control behaviors, you need to have have another skill, an intensive teaching skill. There's multiple ways that we handle this in the Teaching Self-Government program based on how old a person is. Be sure to get more help with that in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course if you have a child that really likes to try to push buttons and manipulate to get their way. The beginning of a really great correction, when somebody is pushing back at you, maybe they're talking back, maybe they're whining or complaining, maybe they're getting angry, the very first thing that you should think in your mind that you should do is, I need to describe what I see. This does two things. This helps you stay calm so that you don't let your emotional junk come out, and it also helps them see that they are not having any success manipulating you, which is what they are trying to do. So the last thing you want to do is start a power struggle. That's basically two people trying to manipulate each other at the same time. So we go to describing. So what does that describing sound like? I'm going to talk about that in tip number 5. Expert tip number 5, consistency. That means the same thing needs to happen every time. And when I say same, I mean like same. Same tone, same eye contact, same words, same structure that you go through to solve the problems. Same every time. If a strong-willed person meets the same skill every single time that they are trying to power struggle and push against you, they have nothing to manipulate. They can't. It's too strong for them to break through with their normal power struggling tactics that they try to use. Consistency truly is the hallmark of a really dedicated parent. And I know it's one of the things that parents struggle with the most. But I think the reason why they struggle with consistency is people think consistency is just keeping your word. Consistency isn't only keeping your word. Consistency also means telling the child ahead of time, this is exactly how I will do the teaching, which I mentioned in expert tip number 4, and then actually doing it the same every single time. What you have to remember is when your child is out of control or needs correction and they're trying to maintain composure of themselves because they're conquering that habit of their strong-willed manipulations, what they really are doing is not battling you, they're battling themselves. And if you have consistency, the same words, the same time, every time, it's just like having something that backs you up, that helps you be able to teach consistently every single time. Those children don't have anything to fight except for themselves. It points the fight back in the direction of them. So then they have to analyze, do I want to do this? Am I getting anything out of this behavior? Am I actually being understood? I'm not. I've got to change. And that's when mom and dad are going to be saying really good things that point the direction where somebody should be going. So let's talk about some of those things that we're going to be saying. I promised that I would tell you the exact words that I use. There's a skill set I use called How to Do an Effective Correction. And there's certain cue phrases that I use before I start describing certain things to the child. The first cue phrase I say is just now. And this prompts me to remember to describe what happened. Remember, we're supposed to describe exactly what they did. Now, don't do it in a condescending way. So I say, just now, I gave you an instruction to, and then I explain exactly what they did. The next thing I do after I describe what happened is I give a rationale. So to give a rationale, I say, the reason why you probably don't want to choose to do it this way in the future is because, and then I give them a reason. Maybe it's going to take more time because we have to do this correction or something like that. You choose what would matter to your child on that rationale. Then the third step is I say, what you should have done was, because that points them in the right direction. So what you should have done is you should have done all the steps to following an instruction, which I already have pre-taught them, or whatever the situation requires to discuss what they should have done. Then after that, I say, since you chose not to use whatever skill they should have been using, you have earned. And I say you have earned because they choose and they earn. It's their self-government. And they need to not see it as me against them, me doing something to them. They need to see themselves in charge of what is going on in their lives so that they can be the ones that make the adjustments. After that, we do some practices and I praise them the whole way along during this correction. If they're looking at me, if they're staying calm, if they do a good job on their practices and on accepting their consequences, I tell them exactly what they did with more descriptions. So I say, you did a great job looking at me, keeping a calm face, voice, and body. I see you're really doing well at disagreeing appropriately. That's just one of the skills I picked. You could put any skill in there, whatever skills you're teaching your children. So that's the basic format with some cue phrases, some words that you can use to help your child when they are in the moment of pushing against you. But don't forget to pre-teach these things ahead of time. Pre-teach the words you'll use and pre-teach the words and skills that they need to use as well. Strong-willed people come across as very logical, but actually they're usually behaving very emotional. I think that you'll probably really enjoy the next video that I have for you, which is called How to Control Your Emotions in the Moment. Go ahead and click on that video so that you can have the tools that you need for managing your success and theirs.